Hey everyone, this is Shelomo, founder and president of Purpose Creates Impact. I am with Clifford Starks, former UFC fighter and life transformation coach. How are you, Clifford?
I am good. How about yourself?
Awesome, couldn't be better.
Good, good.
I reached out to Clifford about a week ago, see if we can do a collaboration, and today we're going to be talking about what is our purpose and how to find our purpose. Clifford, how about you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
So yeah, I've started off just trying to figure life out just like everybody else is. Coming from, I wouldn't call it a broken home by any means. I had a pretty good life overall, but I call him the sperm donor. He ended up leaving at a very young age, and I had a man replace him, and I couldn't have asked for a better father figure. So having those two sets in place, I don't know if you've ever read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I kind of think that was I had the good dad, bad dad. So I got to see what it felt like to feel abandoned, and I got to see what it felt like to have someone empower you. And so from there, he taught me responsibility. He taught me to always strive for strength, to always be the best me that I can be, and to always learn and to always grow. And so I took that to heart, and I took it to heart at a very young age. And I focused on me, and then I started focusing on other people. I ended up graduating from ASU with a degree in kinesiology. I love psychology. I'm fascinated by the mind and how it works. And the more people I meet, the more stories that I am allowed to share and empower other people to do great things too.
That's amazing. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
That's good. And what brought you to you also mentioned you did professional fighting for about 8 years.
Uh-huh.
What brought you to that path?
Some of my teammates from wrestling ended up doing it, and I missed the competitiveness. So what I did was I gave it a try. I didn't know if I was going to be good or not. I decided, the only way to find out is by trying.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing it, and I ended up being pretty good at it. And so I took the same things that I teach my clients on a coaching basis. I follow my own strategies. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell someone to follow strategies if I'm not following them myself. So
Uh-huh.
I followed my own strategies, and I ended up fighting for some of the biggest organizations in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is your purpose, by the way?
Man, my purpose is to really just shine as much light on the world as I can. That's what it really comes down to, is to shine as bright as I possibly can and do my best for other people. It's
That's
pretty
good.
simple. Yeah.
Both of us have a similar story. I came from, I would say I came from a great household, a loving family, lots of empathy. Uh, it's a good thing and a bad thing because they spoiled me so much. It
Yeah.
kind of made me weak in a way where
Oh,
middle school and high school I was always picked on and bullied and not confident at all. So when I got to college, I that's where I joined a fraternity, became a little bit more social, but my confidence didn't really come in until I started networking for the startup I worked for. And I went out there, I forced myself to socialize with random people and make relationships. And people think I'm naturally an extrovert.
mhm.
Reality, I am an introvert. I'd rather stay home, relax, watch some Netflix. But I go out there, I meet people, and people think I'm a naturally confident individual. And with your story, how you want to shine light in other people, that's similar purpose to me for people who are not confident, who don't have self-esteem. I want to help them become more confident.
Yeah. That's
It's
awesome.
yeah. I mean, I believe, you know, my belief is we revolve we have our purpose,
Mm-hmm.
revolve all of our actions from personal relationships to professional relationships to activities we do on a daily basis around
Mm-hmm.
our purpose. How did you formulate your purpose, Clifford?
You know, my whole thing is
Did you just
I
wake
want
up
to
one day and say, "Hey, this is my purpose"?
know, like, so a purpose is something that you find, and you find it from taking action and from doing, and honestly you get it from your environment too. So people are very, very patternistic. There's certain things that happen in our life that kind of define who we are. Now we can change our perception of the definition of our core, but the truth of the matter is we have some core tendencies behind us. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And so having the healthy habits, you can express that positively. But having unhealthy habits, you just express it negatively. And so when it comes to giving the light, it's about empowering and inspiring people to live their best truth. That's all that is. Live their best truth. And when a person lives their best truth, they don't only look out for themselves, they look out for other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody shines together.
Has your purpose changed in any way as you transition from professional fighting to coaching?
You know, I honestly think all of our purposes, like I get how people say they want to write down what my purpose is and
Uh-huh.
say I can write it down specifically. But I'm telling you, I think we're all way more the same than we are different. And the reason
Absolutely.
I say that is everyone's purpose is to help, to help people. That's what it comes down to. We are humanitarians in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone has a different way of helping people. So we look at it and say, well, since I have a different way of helping people, that makes my purpose unique. And it is unique for that reason. But at the same time, the same purpose it's very similar. They're all very similar. And I think we have to start with similarities before we go into the differences.
Mm-hmm.
So the similarities is I want to help people. Okay, now how do you help people? What is it that you do to help people? And that's where you get more specific in it. And the specifics come with the actions that you do. It's not as easy as just taking one test and saying, oh, I figured it out. This is my purpose.
Yeah.
It comes from asking the really deep, dark questions to know what your pain is, to know what your joy is, to go deep within yourself, to be by yourself. I think sometimes we get convoluted because we'll be in a group and we'll think this is my purpose when it's the group's purpose. Like, what is your individualistic purpose? So my individualistic purpose for me is to shine as much light as possible.
Okay.
I want to shine. I just want to shine and shine bright. And people are like, well, what does that mean? Well, when you're around me, you get to feel what that means. That's what it comes down to. That's the definition of what it is. It's not just saying it. It's about doing it and acting within it. And so you can say, I want a better relationship. Well, what does it mean to have a better relationship? And even if I talk about having a better relationship or I put it into words about having a better relationship, it won't happen until I take the action into having a better relationship. And as an individual who has been a coach as long as I've been, see, I'm still learning the marketing area of it. The
Yeah.
marketing is the words, but words do nothing without the action. Absolutely nothing. And so that's where I stand by. That's what I do. It's just like everybody has the marketing words down. They're beautiful. They're nice. Do this. Be this way. Be a leader. Blah, 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 blah. Well, the one thing I can tell my kid is this is the way you act. Let me show you. And then on top of it, I want you to be a better man than I was. But not a better man because I failed so much. a better man because I did so damn good. I raised the bar so damn high that you need to raise the bar just a little bit more. And I know you can do it. So that's what purpose is to me. Purpose to me is shine bright, act right, think right, speak right. And if you mess up, you mess up, but you keep moving forward and you learn from your mistakes.
Absolutely. Your 2-year-old son has a really great dad, I see.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
There's someone to look up to.
Yeah, I do my best, man. You know, I think we're all special and unique. And the best part about being a coach is I get to see what people can do when they are shining. That's what it comes down to.
And how do you help people show results in what aspects?
Well, the thing is, it's funny because it's really generalized things. It comes down to generalizations. So when you can get the mindset right, if the mindset's right, everything else comes together. Just as you focus on building confidence for teenagers, correct?
Yes.
And there's nothing stronger than that. Because when a teenager's confident in themselves, that's when they're able to shine. That's when they're able to learn. That's where they're able to grow. That's where they're able to fail. See, failure's not a failure if you get back up and you just keep moving.
Absolutely.
And that's what confidence gives you. That's what it gives you, something to say, you can keep doing this. You can keep getting better. You can keep learning. You can teach other people. That's what confidence does. And so confidence is a generalized statement like, well, what do you mean? Well, it's like, well, go figure out the meaning by acting on it, by doing it. Because it's easy to say you're confident in situations you don't have to be confident in. But imagine being confident in the most difficult situations. That's what you want to teach these kids, correct?
Correct. Absolutely.
It comes down to there's pressure. It's hard. Now life is getting hard. Now what are you going to do? And just to know that there's some beacon of hope, to know that they're not in this by themselves, to know that they have the inner love, but they also have those external forces that are doing their best to rise them up. And to listen to that during the most difficult times. And that's what it comes down to. Like what you do is powerful because you help the youth move in the direction that they have to move into to create an even better youth the next time. Like that's what it is. We're constantly moving, constantly growing.
Guidance. To me, I believe, if we have our purpose, we go towards our purpose. And I totally agree with you. Purpose is not something we wake up one day and say, oh, you know what, this is going to be my purpose. It takes a lot of the right questions, soul searching, to figure out what our story is. What kind of things did we do in the past? What events have happened to us in the past? How can we learn from it? And what are we going to do right now to help other people with our past events? I believe if we go towards our purpose and act every single day, I truly believe in the law of attraction. Like it attracts like. You go towards something and the world will help you in some type of way to get there. So for me, I know I'm helping teenage kids with their confidence. I'm advertising that. And I'm meeting the right people to move me towards that direction. I'm helping other people. Well, other people see them trying to move in a direction, and they approach me now about helping me. But if I would have never outwardly expressed my purpose to everyone, then I wouldn't have met those people. So now you're not only attracting the right people, you're attracting great energy, other people who are striving to become something better, such as yourself, towards a greater cause.
Yeah. And just off of what you said, a greater cause, like it's bigger than just the individual. And so purpose to me, and I hear it over and over again, especially the people that I work with, are loving someone, right? Truly loving an individual and not enabling them. They're two different things. You know, love, unconditional love, to say, I love your spirit. There's something special in your spirit, but your spirit's going to be tested. There's going to be tough times. And there's going to be times where you judge actions.
Mm-hmm.
You judge the action. It doesn't mean you condemn the spirit of the person, though. But if a person's acting incorrectly, like I think sometimes people get a little bit too afraid to say, well, I don't want to judge and I don't want to, judgment isn't a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. If someone does something incorrectly, shouldn't we tell them that they're doing it incorrectly? That doesn't mean we don't love them anymore. That doesn't mean we don't believe they can do better. That doesn't mean there's not greatness in them. But it does mean, like, yes, there is right and wrong. There's certain circumstances where you can hurt other people. If someone's hurting somebody, then yeah, you have to call them on that and remind them that they can do better and remind them there's something special in them. And sometimes they might be hurting someone because they're hurting inside themselves. It's complex, but it's standing for something. And the more you stand for something, like knowing your purpose, know what your moral standards are, know what you want, know where you want to be, know what you want to do, know what the legacy you want to leave behind is. And so my whole legacy is love. Love of myself and love of others. Because it's not really loving myself if I have people who are stomping all over me, who are mistreating me, who are treating me the way I don't feel love should be treated. And I have to acknowledge that and call people out and stuff like that. And the same is true for if I'm doing that to somebody. If they're feeling unloved because they feel I'm treating them a certain way, I want them to speak up and tell me, what is it that you need from me? The more we communicate, the better off we all are. When we communicate with one another, life becomes so much easier.
Absolutely. And I think the difference between purpose and profession is completely different. Mm-hmm. Our purpose pretty much throughout our life stays the same. Mm-hmm. It might change a little bit, but our purpose will, to me, it will stay the same. How we go about our purpose and accomplishing our purpose will change. Yeah. For example, if my purpose is to build confidence in teenage kids, I'm going down the YouTube route, the youth leadership route. For some reason, 10 to 15 years down the road, it doesn't work out, or I decide, hey, this isn't right for me, and I go with maybe a clothing brand. Yeah. And I build a successful clothing company. And maybe I could build teenage confidence by helping the other teenage kids build businesses. So I believe people mix profession and purpose. They think that once they have a purpose, and once they have a purpose, that they should have the same profession. That's not true. You could become a doctor. Mm-hmm. And your purpose is to help other people get better. But maybe 30 years down the road, you don't want to be a doctor anymore. You can pivot. Your purpose will probably stay the same, and you can help other people feel better in a different avenue, in a different profession, or in a different job. What do you feel about that?
100% agree with that. When it comes down to purpose, the purpose is the definition of who you are and what you stand for, what your moral standards are. When it comes to profession, your profession can change from almost anything. Like I said, I used to be a fighter, and I always loved people, but do you say, well, do you love punching people in the face? It was the competition. I love the competition of it. And it's two individuals signing a contract and agreeing to something. It's agreeing to a fight, to take place and see who the better fighter is that day. It wasn't my purpose to like, I need to beat the crap out of this guy to show him what's what. It's a competition. But my purpose still comes in a place of love, in a place of caring. Like after the fight, I go grab a beer with the guy that I just fought, you know, and that's your purpose. You're right. It always maintains regardless of what the profession is. Your profession could be cleaning toilets and your purpose could be helping your community. It's about helping your community. How can I serve? How can I serve my community? And in your mind, instead of saying, I'm better than cleaning toilets, in your mind, you can use that as, I'm going to serve my community the very best that I can. Absolutely. I'm going to be the best damn toilet cleaner I can in this moment, in this present moment, because that's what they need me to be. I don't want to do it for the rest of my life, but this is what I need to do right now to fulfill my service to the community.
Absolutely. And what advice would you have for people who feels like they haven't found their purpose?
Soul search, you know, talk to as many people as they can. So there's a saying, it's inch deep, mile wide. And that means just try a lot of different things. If you haven't found something, it's because you haven't tried enough things. Search, look, grow, ask questions, ask more questions, listen, take action, do it all over again. You keep doing those things and eventually you'll find what you need to find.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot which person said this, but he said that just because you're passionate about something or you like something doesn't mean that should be your route. For example, you might be naturally really good at so and so, and you're trying to go a different route and you're forcing that route. Sometimes you got to see, okay, what am I naturally good at? What do when people look at me and people speak to me and they say, wow, you're really good at this, or you should do this, and you have enough people telling you that you should be a certain way in a positive manner, maybe I think you should go try that out, because I believe in signs. If, you know, Tom Brady, he's good at football. But if he tried to play basketball, or soccer, he wouldn't be as good, no matter how much he forced himself. Or Michael Phelps been swimming since he was a little kid. Tiger Woods been golfing since he was 3 years old. You have to look for those little signs. And because you love something and you're not naturally good at it, I don't think people should go after it. Like you said, talk to as many people as possible. Yeah. And look for those natural signs of what you're good at.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with knowing your natural abilities. One of the most important things I tell people is always be willing to deal with the consequences. So if you're a 5-foot basketball player and you're just not getting any taller than 5 foot, one, you got to work your ass off to even have maybe a little bit of a shot. But you love it. Like, that's your joy. It excites you for some reason. I don't know why it would excite you because that's a difficult route. But if that's the route that person wants to take, then by all means, good luck, but deal with the consequences, you know? And so when I talk about making a plan, you got to make a smart plan, and it's got to be specific. It's got to be measurable, attainable. You know, it's got to be relevant. Is it relevant to what you want to do? And put it on a timetable. Make it a serious plan. And realize what you're really doing, what you're really getting into. And if you want to hit your head on the wall, because maybe some people like doing that. You know, some people might like hitting their head on the wall. I'm not a big fan of that. And I make sure people are honest with themselves. As honest as possible. You know, I'll tell the difficult truths, because sometimes those are the hardest truths to understand. Like, maybe a Tom Brady would want to be a soccer player, And maybe he's just not as good at soccer, but he loves it. It's his passion. It's his joy at that moment. And if that's what he needs to be at that moment, you can tell him, hey, you know, you'd probably be better as a quarterback. Just saying, it's just a thought. But if that's what you want to do, just deal with the consequences of what you want to do. But take responsibility. And that's what I tell anyone that I train with, is to take responsibility first. All I can tell you is you have this, 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 and this. And these are the routes that are probably going to happen with what you got.
I always believe potential.
Yeah.
What is your potential?
People's potential or people's potential? People's potential is unlimited. Yeah, that's unlimited. People have potential to do consistently pretty much anything that they want to do if they put their mind to it. Because here's the thing, we got this thing in between the ears. That's powerful. That's one of the most powerful things you can have. And on a physical scale, you're a little more limited. Because think about if you took a basket, like I said with the basketball, if you're 5 foot tall, that's going to be difficult. Now imagine if you're, for instance, a very slow runner and you want to be an Olympic sprinter. That's going to be difficult. But the opportunities are in the obstacles. Maybe it doesn't happen the exact way you want, but you can still make something happen differently. Let's say you're not the fastest sprinter in the world. You can be a coach, and you might be one of the best damn coaches in the Olympic Games.
Absolutely.
It's something. And that's what I do is I allow people to have options to say, okay, well, maybe this isn't the route that it's going to be. I don't know if you ever heard the saying, when pigs fly.
Yes, I've heard of it.
Okay, so they say when pigs fly, it's impossible. Pigs can't fly. Well, if you put a pig on a plane, it's flying. Yeah, just little creative ways. Like, just get creative. What creative way can you figure out what you want to do? There are creative ways to do things with having even less consequences. And that's what it comes down to.
People limit their potential way too much. I think.
Oh, yeah, because they look at all the things they can't do.
Yeah.
Instead of all the things they can do. Focus on even just one thing. Just focus on one thing you can do and then build from there.
When I was younger, I thought to myself that it was the people who built successful businesses and who are really, really rich. There's something special about them. But that's not true at all. We all have our own strengths and weaknesses, but we can all reach a certain potential that that you don't even believe is possible. You know, I always dream big for a reason, because I don't think mediocrity is. We shouldn't strive to be average. We should strive to do something great that no one has ever done before, or people have done it, but just not as good as you. So you just level up to that. And sometimes we think to ourselves, okay, our friends, our family members have been made us believe a certain thing all of our life, and that's what we believe. But we're not seeing long term. Tony Robbins has a quote: "People overestimate what they can do in the short term and underestimate what they can do in the long term." And think about if you strive to build a multi-million or maybe a multi-billion-dollar business, might not happen in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
But what about if you take strides for it in the next 30 years? What can happen?
Yeah.
And people try to, like, oh, it's not, they might go full-time on their business for 1 to 2 years. No, that's not working. I'm not really capable of building a multi-million-dollar company. Nothing can happen in 1 to 2 years. Apple didn't become a multi-billion-dollar company until 20 years after they opened up. So my advice to people is, whatever you think you're capable of doing, you're capable of doing 10 times more.
Yeah.
You're not thinking long term. In long term, anything is possible. I hate the term realistic. They're like, oh, that's not realistic. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Realistic can mean so many. At one point, flying airplanes wasn't realistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to think big. You have to think long term, and you have to do what no one else is doing.
Yeah. I mean, on the biggest scale, I'll say, one, you're 100% right on long-term thinking.
Yeah.
And as a coach, this is one of the most, once you get them past that part of it, it's not even so much the long-term thinking, it's the linearized thinking that gets them in trouble. That's what gets them in trouble. And so on a long-term scale, I'll give you a perfect example. Do you know how long a half marathon is?
13.1. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're running 13.1 miles. And then if you look at, like, I'll even talk to people about, oh, so you're doing a marathon. Oh, no, I'm doing a half marathon, right? So 13.1 is a big difference to people compared to 26.2. And they look at it like it's twice as hard. But it's not. It's hard. Hard is hard. So after you've ran 5 miles, your body acclimates. And it's like almost the same. But people don't see it that way. They see it as, well, this number's twice the size of that number. Therefore, it's twice as hard. But that's not true. It's the same thing as maintenance. Like, I'll give a perfect example. The way I am, I can go eat pizza for months on end before I start putting on body fat. Now, it wasn't always that way. I was a chunkier, fatter kid. So I had to double down and start taking my nutrition super seriously. I had to go all in. I didn't have a chance to, like, oh, well, let me have a donut today. And okay, maybe if I have, no, I had to go all in because I had to pay the consequences for what I did to myself. But after I went all in and I got to the maintenance body that I want, now I can start having, like, I can have my cheat meals from time to time. But people will look at it and say, oh, you can't eat that. You're in shape. No, it's the other way around. I can't eat that because I'm in shape.
Yeah.
And that's what people miss sometimes. And so when they look at things like, oh, it's so far out of reach, like, I'm looking way past me or way further than me. My life, the light that I bring, it's way further than me. I'm just one individual. The things that I do are going to be a representation of what my kid does and what my kid's kid does. That's how far it goes. That's how far it goes. It goes way further than this individual. I'm just one person. And so when it says, do you want to build an empire? Do you want to build an empire? You can. You can. You got to get the strategies right. You got to plan right. You got to put certain things into action. But you make each generation healthier than the last generation. That's the goal. You just keep making each generation a little bit better than the last generation.
And just
we're flying now.
Just to build off of what you're saying, I believe you don't need like a big change to have big results. Sometimes it takes the smallest change to create the big results. I even listened to one of Tony Robbins' story where he says this golfing story where he's trying to hit the ball, and it's not going far. But when he turns his feet just a little bit forward or a little bit back and leans into a little bit more, then that's when the ball hits. So it can take just a little centimeter of change to really take yourself far. If, for example, if you're trying to create something or if you want big results, you're doing everything right, but you're waking up late every single day. What if you woke up just an hour earlier and worked that hour, or meditated or exercised in that hour? That small little tweak to your daily habits can set you up for long-term or short-term success. Or, for example, you're working really hard, but you're not learning new things every day. What if you start reading 30 pages a day?
Yeah,
Tell yourself.
it adds up. Yeah.
Or you go to one networking event a week, meet one new person every week, build 52 new relationships. Meet one new person in one new networking event a week, that's 52 new relationships you built. You don't have to make big changes. All you have to do is see that one small little change that can make the biggest difference.
Absolutely. And then you create new habits from the small changes, you know?
Yeah.
So it doesn't even feel like a change to you. That's the funny part about it.
And then that's where we fulfill our purpose and
Mm-hmm.
do good things with our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any last comments, Clifford? Before we
Thanks for having me on. You know, it was an absolute pleasure. I love the conversation. It was nice meeting all of you. I'm the thumbs up guy, so.
Well, Clifford, where can people find you?
So there's a couple places. I have my website, cliffordstarks.com. You can also Facebook me. You can really just Google Clifford Starks and you'll find me somewhere. But you can Facebook me or email me at cliffordstarks1@gmail.com or info@cliffordstarks.com.
Awesome. And for, I guess, your followers, Purpose Creates Impact. That's the name of my YouTube channel. I'm going to advertise your channel, and I hope you'll advertise mine. But I also have an ebook, The Power of Visualization. These are powerful techniques that highly successful people all around the world use to visualize and achieve their goals. So I'm going to include a link of my ebook as well in the description.
Awesome.
Great talking to you, Clifford.
It was great talking to you. You have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.